4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
A lot of the criticism is personal. People just don't think you're trustworthy.
Well, I don't think that's true, Barbara. The truth of the matter is that I got reelected in part because people did think I was trustworthy and they knew I was working on their behalf.
Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, Monday edition, post-Thanksgiving. I thought I would start with a little comic relief. Yeah, there's Barbara Walters, a.k.a. Barbara Wawa, interviewing Barack Obama, a.k.a. Barack Obama. And Michelle was there, too. Michelle went on to tell us all how much she just loves him. She loves him. But there's Barbara Walters is saying to Barack Obama, the polls, I'm sorry, I hate to say this sitting here, but it's personal. The people don't think you're trustworthy. Well, I don't think that's true. Oh, well, if he doesn't think it's true, then of course it can't be true. It can't be true, right? Forget what the numbers say. Poll after poll after poll after poll after poll says that the people don't think he's honest and trustworthy. But he doesn't think it's true because he was reelected. And people thought he was trustworthy then. For a smart guy, that's a pretty stupid answer. Because if you had a journalist sitting, see, he knows there's not a journalist sitting there. Because for what his answer was, the comeback is, with all due respect, Mr. President, that was before they knew that you lied about Obamacare. But he was never going to get that. So maybe he's smart after all. Welcome. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Lots going on. I was on Morning Joe. I told you last Wednesday. I don't expect you to remember on Monday. I did put out blasts and all that stuff. But in case you missed it, they treated me very nicely. Mika and Joe and the crew. I met Mark Halpern for the first time. Steve Ratner. And it was great to be sitting there and give a listen. Here's how it went. Here's how Joe introduced me when I sat down. The first cut I mentioned there.
It's so typical of this whole disaster. It's worse than not being able to sign up. If you're signing up, and then God forbid you go to the doctor and they say, "Who are you?" What's the person supposed to do? And nobody's addressing this.
Yeah, nobody.
So are you saying people are being left without insurance and they're being duped into fake policies? Because I just think that's...
No, I'm not
saying that, Mika. No. We're just saying that it should work, that to be describing it as repaired and fixed when people are signing up for something that they still do not have.
They're not signing up for, they're not getting duped.
That's not how they're described.
It's not duped. It's incompetence on the part of the website. It's not working.
And Nicole Wallace, former Bush administration official, of course. I should have pointed her out, the lovely and talented Nicole Wallace. But go to cut 35 before it. Go to cut 35. Here's how I was introduced by Joe.
Rapid fire block here with us now, host of the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV, Steve Malzberg. We're going to read from the Wall Street Journal.
Newsmax TV, baby, it's taken off.
Oh.
There you go. Newsmax TV, baby, is taking off. So says Joe Scarborough. So there you go. And I had a lovely time. It was a very nice time. And, once you're up at 5 in the morning, the hardest part's crawling out of bed. You get into the shower, you're wide awake. I didn't even go back to sleep. And I'm glad I didn't, because I don't think I could digest everything I need to digest. We have such a big show coming up for you today. I can't even tell you. A professor, NYU professor, who wrote a column, says that Barack Obama and presidents should be able to run for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th terms if they so desire. We'll talk to him. We have Maria Conchita Alonso, who's a great actress, but also a big political activist when it comes to Venezuela and Cuba. David Bossie will be here. Dana Milbank of the Washington Post will be here. I am now a liberal magnet, ladies and gentlemen. First, Mark Halpern. First Scarborough, then Halpern, and then Morning Joe. I was on HuffPo today on their TV. And now Dana Milbank. I have become a liberal magnet. I don't know why. I don't know how. but I have become that. Only kidding. Glad to have. And Ted Roll, liberal cartoonist Ted Roll, who is in trouble with some liberals. They don't like the caricature or the picture, the cartoon that he drew of Barack Obama. They say, or at least somebody does, says it's racist. Oh, when these liberals get a taste of their own medicine. We'll talk to our friend Ted Roll. So lots going on here today. But have you heard the news? It's all over town. If you ain't heard it yet, you better sit down. Anyway. There's a report. There's a report out there. The Kuwaiti news outlet, Al Jazeera, no relation to Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera. They might be cousins. Al Jazeera and Al Jazeera. And, of course, they owe it all to Al Gore. But because he sold Al Jazeera okay. Anyway, I'm in a wacky mood. What could I say? I guess I'm delirious. I've been up so long. I know everybody gets up at 5 o'clock except me. But so the Kuwaiti news agency says that President Obama is looking to arrange a trip to beautiful downtown Tehran. Yeah, hey, where you can meet the mullahs. Meet the mullahs. He wants to go, according to this report, to Iran to visit Tehran. And the headline is, Obama would like to visit Tehran, official invitation after details resolved. Al Jazeera has learned from a U.S. diplomat that President Obama is seeking to visit Tehran in the middle of next year. The report reads, the source said that the desire to visit is shared and that Tehran and Washington are waiting for the conclusion of the arrangements prior to Iranian President Hassan Rouhani issuing an official invitation to his American counterpart. He pointed out that most important detail that is outstanding regarding the meeting is the question of a meeting with Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and the possibility of not holding the meeting. The source said Obama was waiting for the invitation to devote his new administration's policy in the region based on the principle of non-military involvement and balance. 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 Give them a nuclear weapon, then they'll be like Israel. That's balance. He wants to be the first U.S. president to visit Iran since the Khomeini revolution. Hey, Mr. President, or should I say Dr. Obama, because that's what you are, really. Dr. Obama, while you're in Tehran, maybe you'll visit one of our 3 hostages, including the pastor, whose lovely wife we had on last week. You think you'll find time to visit one of them? Huh? Yeah. Now, we learned during the holiday, according to Breitbart, that the U.S. released a top Iranian scientist, Mojtaba Arodi, in April. In April, we released a top Iranian scientist as part of our dealings with Iran, because these talks have been going on, even though the administration lied to us and said it all happened so quickly. They've been going on for the better part of a year, apparently. So we released one of their scientists, and as a show of good faith, Iran released none of our prisoners. But that's okay, because it works out for the best. Now Barack Obama, if he gets bored in the Tehran Hilton, could go spend a part of a day on each day of the trip visiting another U.S. captive held behind bars in Iran. Wouldn't that make a good photo op? He could stand outside the cell while our prisoners are inside the cell, and the photo op could be, he could go like this to get thumbs up to the guy behind the cell. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Behind the bars. I think that's a great photo op. Dr. Obama, you're a genius. You're a genius. And while you're there, why don't you ask to speak to Mohammed Imami Kashani, a member of the Assembly of Experts, the body that appoints the Supreme Leader. And at Friday's prayer service, he said of the Jews, this vicious temperament of dogs and pigs is you, Israel. The Quran has marked you on your foreheads that you will be humiliated. The Zionist officials are like animals, and truly as rogue thugs, they do whatever they want, killing people, creating bloodshed, and destroying whatever they want. Dr. Obama, why don't you meet with this lovely man? He's a man of peace. I'm sure you and him would have a lot in common. After all, we have a lot in common with our the Islamic Republic of Iranian brothers, don't we? You always told us that. So visit our prisoners, meet with this guy who calls Jews pigs, and you'll have yourself a grand old time. on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk thanks to our spendthrift politicians. Mark Twain said the truth is stranger than fiction. The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
We're in the midst of an obesity epidemic, and I'm not surprised. The statistics on obesity mirror an increasing trend of eating out or ordering in. In fact, some people dine out every night, but eating in restaurants is one of the biggest enemies of your heart. When you're in a restaurant, you don't really know what you're getting, and the calorie counts of many restaurant dishes are astronomical. In fact, some single dishes contain more calories than we should eat in an entire day. Eating in fast food restaurants is even worse. A diet of hamburgers, French fries, and shakes constitutes a fast lane to the emergency room. If you really want to help your heart, get in the habit of cooking simple meals at home. Here are 3 easy tips that will make your food taste better than even the best restaurant. Choose the best fruit in season. Your local farmer's market is a great place to start. It will probably still cost less than that pie you were thinking of buying. Get in the habit of using fresh herbs. You can use them in egg white omelets or dust them on the fish you grill or bake. And for a light dessert, choose a square or 2 of dark chocolate that you and your spouse can enjoy. There are lots of ways to make your heart healthy, but there are also lots of ways to damage it. That's why I wrote Fix It, Dr. Crandall's 90-day program. In it, I'll tell you how to kickstart your metabolism every day, how to pick the best diet for you, how to stop hunger from sabotaging your diet, the 7 superfoods for your heart. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now, Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
888-577-9520. 1-888-577-9520.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll-free at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, ladies and gentlemen. How about a third term for President Barack Obama. No, don't get sick. Don't run away. Don't check your passport. Our next guest says that it's time to end presidential term limits. And joining us is Professor Jonathan Zimmerman, Professor of History and Education at New York University. Also the author of many books, including Small Wonder, The Little Red Schoolhouse in History and Memory. Hello, Professor. How are you?
I'm good. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Okay. One of the reasons that you give for wanting to do away with the 22nd Amendment and allow a third term, and as it would pertain to President Obama, is that one of the reasons is he doesn't fear the voters right now. But are you suggesting unlimited terms? Because then if you suggested a third term limit, then he would, I mean, in other words, whenever he decided to either call it quits or hang it up or not run, which hopefully would be one day, or we would certainly have a dictatorship or a monarchy brewing, he would have no reason to fear the voters at some point. So at least now it's now and he'll be gone. What's the difference?
I just don't see why he shouldn't be able to run continuously, not serve continuously. That's the difference, you know. There's been a huge amount of misrepresentation of my ideas on this subject ever since the Post article came out. There have been email blasts saying, you know, NYU professor supports third Obama term. That's a lie. In fact, I don't support it. What I support is the right of any president to run for another term and the right of you and me and other citizens to vote thumbs up or thumbs down. If your listeners would like to Google me and George W. Bush, they'll see that in 2006 I wrote a very similar piece about George W. Bush in his second term, saying that he, just like Barack Obama, should be able to stand for another term, and we, the people, should be able to decide if we think he's the best person for the job.
All right, but two of the reasons you gave, one is the reason I gave to you, is that the president, whoever it would be, but right now it's Barack Obama, doesn't fear the people because he's not up for re-election. That could happen, like I said, whether he's elected 5 times and then decides not to run, he would have that period where he didn't fear the people, or if he decided to be a one-term president, he would have that same non-fear of the people. And you talk about Democratic lawmakers should worry about provoking the wrath of a president who could be reelected, but that's not the case now. But again, same would apply. Same scenario that I gave just before would apply. So you're just delaying the inevitable, really, by saying he could run again and by giving those 2 reasons, aren't you?
But delaying the inevitable, I don't understand this critique at all. I'm not suggesting that he serve indefinitely. I'm suggesting that the voters should be able to allow, to decide how long he should serve. It seems to me, so you're speaking about elections as if they're fait accompli. Let's look at the history, all right?
No, I'm not even talking about the election, sir. I'm saying... You're saying that right now, because he cannot run again, you say you talk about John McCain and Lindsey Nelson, but if Obama could run again, would he be facing such fervent objections from Senators Charles Schumer and Robert Menendez? And you say probably not. Democratic lawmakers would worry about provoking the wrath of a president who could be reelected. Nor does Obama have to fear the voters, which might be the scariest. But my point is that would be the case if any president had served 4 terms and then said, I'm not running next time. It would be the case if a president serves 1 term and says, I'm only going to be a 1-term president. No, so you're not going to eliminate that. You're not going to solve these problems permanently by giving the president the right. Yet these are 2 of the most prominent reasons in your piece.
No, look, I get it. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone would want to keep running. In fact, I mean, there are many people who wouldn't, and that too would be their right. But my larger point here isn't that this limits the power of a second-term president, although I do believe it does. My larger point is that just like George Washington, all right, I feel that the American people should be able to decide who they want to be their president. And right now they can't. Okay? If somebody has served 2 terms, regardless of how well they've done, regardless of what they'd like to do, and most of all, regardless of what the voters would want, right? Let's keep in mind that the Founding Fathers debated this question at great length, and there were members of the convention like George Mason who were very strong proponents of term limits, and they lost. I've seen all this blather on the internet about how, you know, this idea runs counter to the Founding Fathers, you know, the idea of, you know, allowing people to serve as long as they can be elected. That's false. I mean, indeed, that's why the Constitution was amended, right?
Right, because it wasn't in the
original
right.
document.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. But I think people feel uncomfortable, and I think this is why it was amended. And I think people have been perfectly okay with it, except the occasional Clinton supporter who wants him to run again. And
wait.
I know, not you. You
supporters and Reagan supporters.
Okay, but my point is that I think the overwhelming majority of Americans feel uncomfortable, which is why this was passed as an amendment with 2/3 of the states and 2/3 of the Congress passing it. And I think with social media and with mastering social media and with an overall general media that's biased in extreme one direction, it's very dangerous to let a man like Barack Obama or any populist president run again and again and again, because there's a good chance he could keep winning. And that would be horrific for our democracy.
Would you say the same thing about Dwight David Eisenhower or Ronald Wilson Reagan?
I don't think the circumstances were the same then, whether it be social media or the bias in the general media. I think it's a very dangerous slope we're on right now, and I think it's
let's be clear that right after the amendment passed, Republicans started to doubt it, right, because Eisenhower was in power and a popular president, and Eisenhower himself said he opposed the amendment on the eve of his reelection in 1956, which would be the last time, of course, because now he's term limited. He said, and I quote, "The United States ought to be able to choose for its president anybody it wants, regardless of the number of terms he has served." I take the Eisenhower position.
Okay, but there was no movement. I mean, there was no no attempt in the Congress to get this thing going.
Well, that's true in part because the amendment was so recent. Now, when Reagan was serving his second term, there was a movement. It didn't succeed, but a lot of people said, "Listen, this guy's popular. He's a successful president. Why shouldn't he be allowed to stand again?" Listen, if you think that Eisenhower and Reagan shouldn't have been allowed to run again, then you can consistently say that Obama shouldn't be able to run again. Okay, but if, like many Republicans at the time, you think that those guys who were successful presidents
then they're hypocrites. No, then they're hypocrites. Absolutely. Although times have changed, as I alluded to. Look, we'll continue this another time, Professor. I'm out of time. I thank you for coming on, and I hope you'll come back again.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind: to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Yeah, I think they focused on the death panels, which will be coming. Call them what you will. Rationing is part of it, and I
agree. Huge. It's going to be a huge issue, and that's something else about which the president was not fully forthcoming and straightforward.
All right, so you believe that there will be rationing, aka death panels?
It's built into the plan. It's not like a guess or like a judgment. That's going to be part of how costs are controlled.
All right, folks. The interview that made news and is still resonating. That was Mark Halpern on this show a week ago talking about death panels. I was talking about death panels, and he agreed with me, and I don't need to go through the logistics of how that all came about again. And joining us now to talk about it is Michael Cannon, Director of Health Policy Studies, and we welcome you, sir. Good to talk to you.
Happy to be here.
Well, thank you. Of course, at the Cato Institute, I should say. Of course, and I think I saw you were on with Megyn Kelly, I think, last week, and a couple of other people as well, talking about this very issue. I mean, it was fascinating to hear Mark Halpern, admit it and then try to backtrack. But, some people have known about this. You have, almost since the inception of Obamacare.
Well, that's right. In fact, before the law was even passed, that's when Sarah Palin uttered or put on Facebook her infamous phrase, death panels. Now, I want to be clear. I don't have the same position as she does on these sorts of panels. At least I don't think. I mean, what she was talking about, and she was quite right, that the president had at that point proposed a panel that would be able to deny care to people. It wasn't called the Independent Payment Advisory Board at that point, but it would be able to say no to certain treatments, and Sarah Palin was worried that this panel would do what the National Institutes for Clinical Excellence in Britain's National Health Service does, which is set an arbitrary line that says we will pay for stuff that costs less than this, we will not pay for stuff that costs more than this. And she has, and she mentioned her elderly parents, her disabled child, both of whom would be eligible for Medicare, and she was worried about having government bureaucrats deny care to her family members. You could call that a death panel if you're one of the people who's being denied care. But if what the government is doing with scarce tax dollars is trying to decide how to buy the most health with those tax dollars, and trying to cut out the inefficient stuff, well, if you're trying to buy the most health per dollar spent, you could just as well, from society's perspective anyway, call that a life panel. I think that the problem here is that this because it's going to lead to such, in part because it's going to lead to such
rationing.
Well, not rationing. Rationing is inevitable, but nasty disputes in the public square over whether coverage should be denied for this or for that, that this is not something the government should be doing at all. If the government's going to be subsidizing health care for people, it should be doing it the way it subsidizes seniors with Social Security. Give them a check, trust them to spend the money. Give seniors a bigger check if they're sick or if they have low income so they can afford a basic package of benefits, but then let them decide how to spend it. Don't let the government get in the business of deciding who gets what treatment and who doesn't, because there's no right answer to that question. The answers are going to depend on individual values.
But there are right answers morally to those questions if you go by how our society is operated up until this point. If you go by the Judeo-Christian values that we have, or the Judeo-Christian ethic that we have and have lived under to this point, there are right answers. In other words, if an 80-year-old man needs a bypass, he gets a bypass. You don't start saying, well, how much is it going to cost and how productive is he going to be to society afterward? And the alternatives to giving him the bypass is a death sentence. I don't know how quick a death sentence, but I've been told by Tom Daschle, and others have said this, give him a pill or put him in a hospice. I think that's a revolutionary difference that we're nowhere near ready to undertake, and it would be cataclysmic in my view.
Well, the problem is with what you just said there is that there's no objective definition of need. The only way to define need in these scenarios is whether the expected benefit of a treatment exceeds the expected cost.
What's benefit, though, Michael? You mean benefit to society or benefit to the patient?
Total benefit.
No. So that includes benefit to society. Is that what you're saying?
But here's what ends up happening in Medicare because everyone is spending someone else's money. And because medicine is so uncertain and outcomes are so probabilistic and uncertain. People in Medicare end up receiving all sorts of treatments that don't do them any good, that just end up torturing them at the end of life, that they would not sign up for if we just gave them the cash and said, you decide how to spend it, because it would not be worth it to them. They would be making the decision, no, this is wasteful care. I'm not going to spend money on this. I'm going to give it to my grandkids so that we can go on a cruise or they can have a college education or what have you. And that's the problem with Medicare today. The best estimates suggest that 1/3 of Medicare spending, and Medicare spends close to $500 billion per year, 1/3 of what Medicare spends does absolutely nothing to make patients healthier or happier. So the problem here is not that health care is being rationed. The problem with IPAB, which is the so-called death panel in ObamaCare, is that it is a super legislature that is going to be able to make laws regarding rationing and taxes and other things that it's going to be very hard for Congress to block. So IPAB, this board of unelected bureaucrats, and sometimes just one bureaucrat, will be able to write laws that Congress itself would not have passed and would like to block, but cannot because of these very high hurdles and contorted procedures that Obamacare places or uses to protect IPAB and its edict.
We're talking to Michael Cannon, Director of Health Policy Studies at the Cato Institute, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. And, of course, those panel members are now able to be appointed by Obama, get through the Senate with just 51 votes instead of the 60 that it would have taken. And you and I agree. Let's listen to Robert Reich. We have that second cut there. Let's listen to Robert Reich, something he said several years ago. If he were the president and the president wanted to be honest with the people, here's what he would say.
Particularly you young people, particularly you young healthy people, you're going to have to pay more. Thank you. And by the way, we are going to have to, if you're very old, we're not going to give you all that technology and all those drugs for the last couple of years of your life to keep you maybe going for another couple of months. It's too expensive, so we're going to let you die. Also, I'm going to use the bargaining leverage of the federal government in terms of Medicare, Medicaid. We already have a lot of bargain leverage to force drug companies and insurance companies and medical suppliers to reduce their costs. But that means less innovation and that means less new products and less new drugs on the market, which means you are probably not going to live that much longer than your parents.
Okay. Do you disagree with any of what he said?
Well, I disagree with the fundamental premise, which is that the government should be making any of these decisions. You see,
well, he doesn't say they should. He said if Obama was honest, this is what he would tell the people. That this is going to happen. That this is going to happen. Yeah, yeah.
I completely agree because, but look, you know, this the one thing that the one misunderstanding I would hate for your listeners to walk away with is this idea that we can somehow avoid rationing. Robert Reich says that if the president were honest, he would be saying these things. A lot of Republicans would say, no, we can't possibly have rationing in health care. But unless Medicare rations care to seniors, in other words, limits consumption of health care by seniors, you haven't eliminated rationing by getting rid of it in Medicare. You just said that low-income families are going to have to ration their consumption of housing and food and clothing and education in order to pay the higher taxes that are necessary to fund this completely unrationed Medicare program with all this wasteful care that doesn't make seniors any better off and just treats them like pincushions in the last few
Michael,
months of their life.
you keep saying that, and it's not only the last few months of their life. How does anybody know it's the last few months of somebody's life until they die and you could look back and say it's the last few months of somebody's life? I mean, you and I agree the government shouldn't be involved in this, but nonetheless, to an extent, we maybe don't agree on the extent. But I'm sorry. Our value system right now is that we do anything we can to keep our parents and grandparents alive. And you said that, you know, if you change it and give the seniors a check, like here's 25 grand, you know, you have the bypass or take a cruise, that most people would take the cruise. I mean, I don't see that at all. So they'll say, oh, I've lived enough. Let me go out with a bang. I mean, you know, maybe the odd person would decide that. But most people want to live. And when it comes to a bypass or a hip replacement so they could move, my dad opted for back surgery in his 80s. It was risky. He came through it, thank God, and lived for 6 more years. But it was such pain, he needed the surgery. I mean, all this would be denied. My mom had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma 2 years ago. She's now 86. She had a 10% chance of survival. She beat the odds. She would have been denied. My father would have been denied. That's not the kind of way we were brought up in this country. We try to keep our parents alive and comfortable. And what about disabled kids? What about disabled kids at birth? How much are they going to cost us? Do we start measuring that?
We are in agreement that the government has no business making any of these decisions. And my only point about the reflexive conservatives' objection to government rationing is that you are not abolishing rationing. For every 80, 90-year-old, 100-year-old who gets a hip replacement, you are taxing people and forcing them to ration their consumption of other necessities of life and limiting their upward mobility, limiting their ability to provide health care for themselves. And so you're not abolishing rationing. And in the process, because, and here's somewhere where we agree, because the government is controlling the money and because everyone in the Medicare program is spending someone else's money, Medicare ends up paying for a lot of stuff that does not make seniors healthier or happier, and that seniors would turn down if it were up to them. If you look at polls of senior citizens, you ask them where do they want to die. In fact, ask any member of your family
at
who's
home.
above 80.
At home.
They will say, you ask them, you want to die in an ICU or do you want to die at home? They will say at home. And
but
yet,
if you ask them if they want the bypass or not, which will help keep them alive, they'll say yes. And now they're going to be told no.
If they're in their 80s, probably. If they're in their 90s, less likely. If they're over 100 years old, the point is that at some point, the costs of these procedures outweigh the benefits.
Well, no, outweigh the benefits to society, not to the individual. Oh, come on.
At some point, the senior citizens will say, you know what? I don't want to go through this anymore. And it is the most wrenching decision.
All right, but that's not
their
because
lives.
of costs. That's because of emotions and physical weariness.
And sometimes they go through these things not because they want to, but because they want to be strong for the people around
All
them.
right, listen, this will be continued. I really appreciate you coming on, Michael. Thank you very much. I hope you'll come back.
Hope so.
Take care. Michael Cannon, ladies and gentlemen, Director of Health Policy Studies at the Cato Institute. When we come back, these women, it's a crazy thing, okay? This woman who's for dieting and having women be thin, she's accused of hate speech by a woman who likes big-bodied women. We're coming back.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54, with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today. In this free offer, we are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
Today, join the millions who read Newsmax magazine every month.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll-free at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
You know, when I saw the article online, these are women who are overweight, nearly obese, or who are obese, and they're saying this is how real beauty, real women look like, and I was a little bit peeved because I felt like, no, that's not how real women look like or should look like. I think that there's a fine line we're walking right now as a nation with the obesity crisis that we're in. So for people who think that I'm a bully or a fat shamer, I'm absolutely not. I'm here. I'm on their side. I have programs out there that are promoting health and fitness.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That was Maria Kang, best known as Fit Mom. And she was on CNN over the weekend with our next guest, Crystal Boujon of Curvy Girl Lingerie. And welcome, Crystal. I don't hear Crystal. Should I be hearing Crystal? All right, we're going to get Crystal on the phone ASAP. So, Crystal, you could stay, you get off Skype or whatever, and just get ready for that phone to ring because we have limited time. Crystal is the owner, the founder of Curvy Girl Lingerie and Curvy Girls Inc. And those of you who are watching on Newsmax TV right now, as opposed to listening on the radio to it, you saw that Curvy Girl Lingerie is for bigger women, heavier women, okay? Certainly heavier and bigger than Maria Kang, Fit Girl. And Maria Kang has been accused of bullying by Crystal. Crystal, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, there you. Okay, good. Half and half Skype and half telephone. I love the technology. Okay, so why did you accuse Maria Kang, who we just saw earlier, of bullying you on Facebook?
Well, I was at the Bethany Frankel show last Monday, minding my own business. They were having me on to talk about our Facebook campaign, which is called Unphotoshopped Regular Woman. And while I was in the makeup chair, I get a phone call from Yahoo saying that the Fit Mom called me out on her blog and tagged my page by saying that I was glorifying obesity. So I didn't even know who this woman was. She just kind of popped into my life last Monday and kind of started picking a fight and bullying us because we celebrate all women. We think that all women deserve to feel sexy and beautiful.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know what constitutes bullying. I think it might be a term. Did she threaten you? Did she call you names? Go ahead.
Her exact words. You can go back to her blog and you can still read it. It says she was annoyed by us, and then on CNN she said she is peeved by us.
All right. I mean that's bullying. I'm annoyed by you. I'm annoyed by lots of people. That mean I'm bullying? And I annoy lots of people, by the way, too.
I've heard that about you.
Yes. So does that mean I'm bullying them? I mean, I think you went a little overboard. Now, having said that, go ahead, respond.
I didn't really do anything. She sort of called us out in the media, and then Yahoo contacted me and said, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Well, I think she's beautiful, and I'm so happy that she's found her passion, and I found my passion too. And my passion is to help all women, no matter their size, to feel sexy and beautiful." And then she just wouldn't let it go. And then OMG Insider came into my store and did a story about us. And then I guess she just continued to feel upset that she thinks I'm glorifying fat people. But I'm really just trying to celebrate however you look exactly today, we want to help you look and feel even sexier.
All right, you're offering a product. I understand that, but I just want to get.
And so is she.
All right, and so is she. So I want to get quickly back to the bullying. You did report it to Facebook for bullying, correct?
Well, she tagged my Facebook page, which is where we celebrate all of our customers in our Unphotoshopped campaign. So what I did on Mondays, I went through and deleted and banned anybody who tagged us, who said anything hateful or mean. And then when their speech was what I consider to be hateful.
You mean by saying annoying, that's hateful?
No, by saying that I'm glorifying obesity. And so then I told Facebook I want this removed. And then I chose the category hate speech. And then Facebook in all of their glory do whatever Zuckerberg and their little algorithms do. And then that somehow affected Maria's page, I assume. I don't know what Facebook does. I don't understand how they do their formula.
All right, but she didn't use derogatory terms towards you or any of your models or any of your product. I mean, she's saying that you're glorifying.
She looked at pictures of women on my Facebook page and said they were unhealthy and obese.
Well, wait, but there is a definition for obese. Are some of these women? I saw are they not obese by definition?
Well, the definition of obesity and the whole BMI thing was created about 30 years ago, and I think it's pretty outdated.
You'd like to change the definition, like people want to change the definition of racism and gay and marriage and all that. But isn't it by definition today, aren't those women obese?
I'm not a doctor, and I cannot.
You're not a doctor? Qualified. Come on. Now you're being intellectually dishonest. The women are obese by definition. I have no problem with you offering them or anybody a product that would make them feel better. But on the other hand, shouldn't you also urge them that it would be healthier if they lost weight?
No, because I don't know their stats. I don't know their cholesterol levels. I don't know their glucose levels. I can't tell that by a photo, and neither can.
All right, you don't. By somebody smoking, you wouldn't know their glucose levels or cholesterol levels either. But wouldn't you tell them don't smoke?
I don't tell anybody what to do. All I do is help people to.
All right, well that explains it. Then listen, Crystal, good luck with your products. I'm out of time, but I thank you very much, Crystal Boujon of Curvy Girl. You're right, Curvy Girl Lingerie. You know, don't be intellectually dishonest. If you're obese, it's unhealthy, okay, whether I know your cholesterol levels or not. And that's not hate speech if you say someone's annoying. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
Have you hit a brick wall with your weight loss? Does your weight management plan need an extra edge for success? If so, listen up. Metabio is the revolutionary weight loss breakthrough designed to help you reach your goal weight as part of your diet and exercise program. Metabio is the premium nutritional supplement power-packed with 5 high-quality ingredients. When used as part of a healthy lifestyle, each component is formulated to help you reach your goals and maintain your optimal weight and wellness. It supports healthy metabolism and promotes fat loss. Now, learn how you can try a 30-day supply of Metabio. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit themetabio.com/special. Act now and also receive instant access to our downloadable special report, a practical guide to healthy weight management. Try it now at themetabio.com/special. That's the metabio.com/special. While supplies last. themetabio.com/special.
ObamaCare, President Obama's massive healthcare law, is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the ObamaCare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already a New York Times bestseller, every American needs to get the ObamaCare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the ObamaCare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the ObamaCare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores, or get our special offer at ObamaCare311.com and you'll save $15. Go now to ObamaCare311.com. That's ObamaCare311.com.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. With his approval numbers in the dumps, President Obama continues to hear it from hecklers on almost every issue. This is how he was greeted in San Francisco by what was supposed to be a friendly crowd.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
While speaking on immigration, the president was interrupted by a protester calling for him to use an executive order to halt deportations and reform the immigration system. The president also said he would be willing to go along with a plan supported by GOP House members to break immigration reform down into smaller parts instead of doing it in just one large bill. Someone in the president's handpicked crowd, though, broke in. But before security could escort the heckler away, the president answered back, saying that he shares the same goals as his hecklers.
If, in fact, I could solve all these problems without passing laws in Congress, then I would do so.
And President Obama is also defending a new nuclear deal with Iran. President Obama told crowds that we cannot rule out peaceful solutions to the world's problems. Iran says it will restrict uranium enrichment for 6 months and allow inspections at select nuclear facilities. In return, the U.S. and several countries will slightly ease some economic sanctions. But several U.S. politicians, including Democrats and Republicans, say Iran simply cannot be trusted.
They have lied, they have cheated, they have deceived for years and years.
Meanwhile, congressional aides say some senators are working on legislation that would reinstate all of those sanctions if Iran does not comply with any part of the new agreement. And that winter storm system that hit parts of Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas hard swept across the country to the East Coast on Tuesday. But with temperatures creeping above the freezing point, the outcome was a little less dramatic than forecasters had feared. The storm limped across Arkansas with a smattering of snow, sleet, and freezing rain that didn't quite meet expectations. Still, though, the storm has been blamed for at least 11 deaths, half of those in Texas. And that same winter storm system is still impacting the East Coast pretty deeply, continuing to threaten plans of Thanksgiving travelers. Some of the country's busiest airports, New York, Washington, Philly, Boston, Charlotte, and Atlanta, could see big delays throughout the day at one of the peak times of the travel year. This holiday will likely see also the most air travelers since 2007, according to Airlines for America, the industry's trade and lobbying group, with the busiest day being Sunday, with an estimated 2.56 million passengers taking to the air. So travel safe, everyone. Coming up next, a Newsmax exclusive with Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, his take on the Iranian nuclear deal. Plus, Black Friday, it's already upon us. See why these folks decided camping out at a Best Buy is more important than spending Thanksgiving with their families. That's next.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
And welcome back. Black Friday shoppers are already camping out around the country, especially at some Best Buy stores. Bargain hunters in Tampa here hope to save anywhere from $500 to $1,000 on big screen TVs and other electronics. Meanwhile, shoppers also began lining up on Monday at a Best Buy in Atlanta. One family told local news there that for the past 6 years, they've had their Thanksgiving turkey in the parking lot instead of at home. Well, Thanksgiving means different things to different people, obviously. And during an exclusive interview, Senator Lindsey Graham tells Newsmax TV that the newly reached Iranian nuke deal puts the Islamic Republic on the verge of having a nuclear weapon, and it does nothing to halt Iran's advancement in that same direction.
Their nuclear capability is pretty much intact. They have 18,000 centrifuges. They have a very sophisticated enrichment program. Not one centrifuge was dismantled.
And that'll do it for this edition of your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show, live from New York.
3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And I had something, I needed to go to the doctor, but honestly, I put it off because I still had to meet the deductible. And in a bit of a crying fit, I screamed out, I hate this damn country. How can I live in a place that lets people go broke because they get sick? How is healthcare not a basic human right?
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Hour number 2 coming up in just a few minutes. Maria Conchita Alonso will join us to talk about what's going on in Venezuela. It might sound all too familiar or like a scary scene from a movie from our future. You never know. Just give a listen, and we'll talk about it with her. But right now, we are joined by Mackenzie Weinger. She is a media reporter for Politico. Hello, Mackenzie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on. I appreciate it. You wrote a piece, 5 Ways to Rescue Liberal Talk Radio, but it won't be easy. Let me point out what we just played a moment ago. Was I think that was Nicole Sandler, formerly of Air America Radio. I think she was filling in for Randy Rhodes at the time. She's now with RadioOrNot.com. And it's that kind of language, it's that kind of vitriol, it's that kind of hatred for America, for American values, for the right, calling people. I mean, I got example after example of what Hartman and Malloy and Rhodes and others have called Newt Gingrich vile, vicious, disgusting names. Ed Schultz talking about Dick Cheney, dying and his heart is, just horrific things. And I think that's the problem with, or was the problem with liberal talk radio. I don't even know if it exists much anymore. They're just out of touch with America, and that's why really it not only has it died, but it never really took off.
Well, what you're saying is what a lot of industry insiders, those who are not in the partisan talk business, but just in the talk business, have been saying. And that kind of plays into the number one thing in my piece, don't be a shill for the Democratic Party. A lot of them over and over and over said, as I'm sure you know, entertainment is the number one thing in talk radio. And a lot of progressive hosts have kind of fallen on the other side and have been very preachy and focused on kind of the Democratic Party line rather than putting being a talk radio personality first. And so that's been obviously a problem with the left talk for several years, and that's one of the reasons why it is in such dire straits.
Yeah, no, I agree. But, that's also been a criticism, rightly or wrongly, of talk radio on the right. They accuse a lot of us of getting Republican talking points, toting the party line, being a shill, a mouthpiece, blah, blah, blah. They accuse Fox News of that and other radio hosts who I won't mention. But those radio hosts and Fox News are usually successful.
Right, and that's been one of the things that has kind of bothered, left hosts, and they're wondering why they can't kind of grab onto the market. They have a couple ideas why, but really there's just not that same kind of playing field for them. And that's why a lot of them, like Nicole Sandler, who you played, are trying to go online and using different kinds of ways to reach the radio audience. They're trying to kind of say, well, we tried to play with the conservative right-wing hosts and we have not won, so let's see what other kind of venues we can use.
Right. No, yeah, I know. And one of those, one of the points of your or suggestions in your piece is, speaking of online, which, I'm not knocking online, certainly. I think that's the future in so many respects, and that's what we're doing here at Newsmax with TV and radio. Finding a new voice. I mean, you talked and you named a bunch of the people who are there now, have been there in the past. I remember when they thought Governor Mario Cuomo, who was not governor anymore, he had finished, he had retired from that position, and WABC Radio at the time I was there, they hired him, and they thought he would be this great new, the Rush Limbaugh of the left, and he was as a talk show host, a miserable failure. So, I mean, do you have any suggestions, or you just think that they got to go find somebody who maybe no one's ever heard of, and that person could reshape and remold liberal talk radio?
I mean, that's the hope for a lot of the people in the business, but, everyone I talked to kept repeating, we need to find that rising star, and I would ask, give me a name. I'd love to talk to them. I cover radio for my job. Give me a new name to look out for. And, no one really could give me any names in the AM, FM radio. There were a couple online people that they think progressives can look for, but, AM, FM, they say they're not trying to cultivate new progressive voices. And there's only a couple areas with local shows, in Madison, Wisconsin, but then a lot of other progressive strongholds that you would think of, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, they've actually killed their progressive radio stations. So in places you would associate with liberal left-leaning politics, they don't even have progressive radio on the air anymore.
It hasn't worked there either. We're talking right now to Mackenzie Weinger, media reporter for Politico here on the Steve Malzberg Show. What would this new person, do you think, from the people you've talked to? In other words, would they be hopefully they wouldn't be a shill for the Democratic Party and they'd be entertaining. And I got to admit, I look for people I disagree with on the radio. That's just me. Not everybody's comfortable with that. Some people like to keep their blood pressure under 200. Me, that's one of my faults. But would the person be, abortion on demand, which is totally out of touch with America? Would the person be, it's hard to be liberal or progressive, whatever you want to call it, and not have the hardcore liberal or progressive feelings and thoughts and talking points built in you. And I think that's always been a losing formula.
Well, I think with the progressive side, from the people I spoke with, they're kind of looking to the new upcoming elections. They're going to be more contentious. There's going to be more open seats, and they're hoping that's going to kind of be a way to get back into the field and kind of compete. But no, I agree. It's going to be very difficult for them, and there really is no farm team of new voices, and there's no one really interested in putting a lot of money behind progressive radio at this moment. So, I mean, even the ones with the popular shows, Bill Press, Tom Hartman, those kind of guys and people that are very invested in progressive radio have all told me the same thing. Things are really bad right now. You'd think that they would try to spin it. It's their business, but they're very honest about the fact that things are not looking good for progressive radio's future. And so they were trying to kind of brainstorm new ideas. But like the title of the piece said, it's really not going to be easy.
Right. And you say 2016, it's 2016 or bust. Is this a last chance? Is there a boat that's pulling out that if they miss, it's kind of faded into the background forever?
That's really the feeling around a lot of insiders in radio that I was getting, especially in kind of the AM FM syndicated talk radio world. If they can't grab on now, it's going to be really tough. A lot of people think it'll still survive online and in those kind of formats, podcasting, which it is going in that direction, but monetizing it is super difficult.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, it's hard to come up with it. You need stations and network or whatever, and even 2 years out, that's very hard to do. But interesting piece because talk radio has not only been my business for the last 30 plus years, but I grew up listening to it, sports talk radio and political talk radio here in New York to the greats like Bob Grant, Barry Farber, Barry Gray. So it's just it's always been strange that it never took off on the left. But anyway, time will tell. Good piece. Thanks for coming on. I hope you'll come back.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Great.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. That's Mackenzie Weinger, ladies and gentlemen, media reporter for Politico. When we come back, Maria Conchita Alonso. And I say that with affection. If I don't say it with a good accent, I say it with affection. And we love hearing from Maria. Don't invite her and Sean Penn to the same party, mind you, and you could Google that one. But she will be here to discuss Venezuela, where she grew up. And she despises the regime there and despises Castro and has possibly some advice for Barack Obama about Cuba. All that straight ahead when we return right here. You know where you are. You know it, you love it. The Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Judging from everything you hear, you think all cholesterol is bad, but that's not really true. You need a certain amount of cholesterol to maintain good health. The problem is that too much cholesterol in your blood contributes to a plaque, a fatty substance that narrows the coronary arteries that feed blood flow to your heart. Picture your coronary arteries as a 4-lane highway. If 1 lane becomes blocked, traffic still flows well. 2 lanes, no major problem. But if a 3rd lane becomes blocked, that spells trouble. It's the same way with your coronary arteries. And when plaque slows their blood flow to your heart, this can even cause a heart attack. The good news is that when it comes to cholesterol, lifestyle changes can pay off big time. Even a small reduction in plaque can be like opening up another highway lane. Suddenly, blood flow that was stalled can go forward again. Changing your lifestyle does not have to be hard. And in fact, here are 3 ways to help you start lowering your cholesterol. Snack on nuts. Nuts are probably one of the easiest and tastiest ways to lower cholesterol. Walnuts and almonds are among the best. Bulk up your diet with fiber. Choose whole fruits instead of a fruit juice, brown rice instead of white, and if you're eating a baked potato, be sure to leave the skin on. Choose fish. Fish contains cholesterol-fighting omega-3 fatty acids. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Aftershock2013.com. Aftershock2013.com.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, ladies and gentlemen, on Newsmax TV, of course, and radio. And joining us now is famed actress, singer, performer, you name it, Maria Conchita Alonso, who, besides being a great performer and a great actress, is also a very, very active she's an activist when it comes to talking about what's going on in Venezuela and Cuba. She was born in Cuba and then taken to Venezuela with her parents at the age of 5, I believe. Won Miss Venezuela teen, and then was the Miss World contestant for Venezuela in '75. Hello, Maria.
Good morning, Steve.
Well, good morning to you. It's afternoon here. I don't know where you are. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Let's start with Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, a guy who calls himself the son of Chavez. Of course, Hugo Chavez, who died fairly recently this year. He's going nuts. He has enhanced powers. He's sent in the army to lower prices at electrical appliance stores. And yesterday he said he's going to have price regulations on cars. He set profit margins. No business could have a profit from over more than 30%. And this is just the beginning.
And this is a precedent that is illegal for two reasons. He has not proven yet that he was born in Venezuela. Everybody thinks he's born in Colombia. And but even if he would have been born in Colombia, he has double nationality, which that everybody knows. And in Venezuela, you can't be president with double nationalities. So he's illegal, but now he has all the power. And he is the one that was chosen by the Castros, who knew him from 1980 something, because he went there to be prepared. Because he's someone that, like a puppet, they can control him, and they couldn't control Chavez. And also, so he is doing all he can, using violence and to scare people, because that's the main thing they use to have people afraid, so they don't do anything. And like in the past 3 weekends or 4 weekends, the people have gone out to peacefully. And in this last weekend, he sent his thugs, and they were hitting people, with helmets, and they were stealing their phones so they couldn't film their cameras, and so it's very bad what's coming. Also, he's regulating house, renting and all that stuff. People are not going to be able to rent house, and he's regulating also, merchandise from years ago that now, like this, like you buy something for $100 and you need to make a profit. Well, no, he wants you to sell it for $50. So he's destroying more the economy, and that's what the communists do, to control you.
Well, yeah, and some people would say some of that is going on here through Obamacare and regulations in other ways, but we'll skip that for now. I believe that inflation is 54% a year. Of course, there's shortages of basic goods, such as basic goods, food and bread and toilet paper and all that kind of stuff.
Toilet paper. Can you imagine? People can't find toilet paper, and they can't find paper also to write their the newspapers, the magazines, whatever. It's a total control. And the one who rules Venezuela is Raúl Castro, and because what they want is to control all of Latin America, which already, every country in Latin America except maybe Peru and, Paraguay, Costa Rica, they're all red. And the main point is to control all that to then come to the United States, which is full of communists that are here. They already have started indoctrinating people. And, and that's their main point is to get a hold of United States.
All right, talk about this general who lives in Miami, and you were telling me that a car was intended to kill him right here down in the United States in Miami.
Yes.
What was that about? Who did that? Who was the general, and who sent the car? Do you believe?
Yes, the general is General Peñalosa. He is retired. He had to leave Venezuela because his life was at stake over there. And he was on his way to an interview, a TV interview. He was driving, and he's like 70-some years old. He was driving his car, and someone came in the freeway and hit him so bad that and then ran away. And his car went over and around and around. There were no other cars coming by. If not, he would have been dead. When police came, they said, yeah, this was an intent of killing him. So, just because we are here and not in Venezuela, that doesn't mean that our lives are not at stake.
So they have a long reach. Venezuela, the thugs have a long reach, is what you're saying.
They do have a long reach, and here we're full of them. Of Cuban communists and Venezuelans, and even Americans that believe in that this country should have the same political view as Chavez.
Well, Maria, let me ask you this. We're talking to Maria Conchita Alonso here on the Steve Malzberg Show. We only have a couple of minutes. There's rumors, speculation that after Iran, or since sitting down with Iran, next on Obama's list is Cuba. Would that be would you advise against that? Would that be what you would call a huge mistake? Describe it.
Yeah, I think it's a completely huge mistake because Cuba is not a democratic island country. Cuba has broken, the human rights. There are all these people that are political prisoners over there that, just because they're against the regime. And if I was Obama, I would say first, let all those political prisoners out, and allow the elections. But they don't do that. They choose by themselves who's president, who's next. And the next president of Cuba is called Miguel Díaz-Canel, who is now the vice president. And there was an audio running around that someone got a hold of where he's talking and trying to, where you can see that they were trying to to kill Chavez because Chavez was in Cuba for 2 months. So they could get him out of the way,
right.
and have Maduro, which was their main plan from years and years and years.
Well, now they got him, and there's an election coming up next week, the municipal elections, correct?
Yes, it's election. Right. It's like that's something also that I don't.
Doesn't mean anything. All right, Maria, we're gonna follow all this. We're gonna have you back just quickly. What are you doing now? You just finished something, correct?
Yeah, well, I'm touring. Americans don't know that I'm a singer also, and I've been touring in Colombia and Mexico. But I'm also shooting a pilot for a reality that we will be. It will be coming out next February or March. It's coming along great. It's mostly in English, but also some Spanish. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, we'll look for it. We'll look for it. Maria, always great to talk to you. Love your spirit. Maria Conchita Alonso, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Maria.
Thanks to
on
you,
the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
Meet John and Nancy. Like many people, John and Nancy have spent their whole lives working hard, saving their money and investing wisely, knowing that it would pay off in the end. But the reality is, today's world is not the same as it was. John and Nancy's stocks have taken them on a serious roller coaster ride, and it's all but destroyed their retirement funds. Their house is not even close to being worth what they paid, and to boot, their middle-class paychecks no longer cover their costs. All that hard work and smart investing has gotten them nowhere. In fact, they are no longer thinking about when they will retire, they're wondering if they'll retire. Then one day, John and Nancy heard about a man named Tom Hutchison. a veteran of Wall Street for over 2 decades. Tom noticed that the wealthy invested differently than normal people, and their methods seemed to be a secret they didn't want to share. So Tom left his job, compiled the strategies, and published them in the controversial book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns. John and Nancy immediately picked up a copy, began investing, and never looked back. Thanks to Powerful Secrets, John and Nancy now have investments that pay up to 20% a year. They learned about unique tax-advantaged investments, and their favorite chapter revealed a strategy that anyone can use to turn $50,000 into $1 million. Now, John and Nancy have control of their financial future in this new reality, and they have peace of mind about their investments that they never had before. Best of all, they are back on track to a secure retirement. To get your free copy of the book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns, simply visit www.myfinancialage.org.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now, Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the very appropriately named Steve Malzberg Show. It wasn't that long ago that we were all talking about the IRS scandal. Of course, that's all been, taken care of. Just ask the ranking member on the House committee that was investigating it, one of the House committees, and just ask Barack Obama. It's a phony scandal, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. Nonetheless, the Obama administration now, the same groups that they were targeting that led to the investigation, conservative groups, Tea Party groups, pro-Israeli groups, now they want to limit a bunch of those groups. The IRS is changing the rules, and they're aimed, I believe, at gagging conservatives, many conservative groups. Joining us now to talk about all this is David Bossie, President and Chairman of Citizens United. Hello, David.
Hey, Steve. How are you? Thanks for having me back.
Thanks for coming on. I was listening to somebody over the weekend on one of the shows, and they said, wasn't this all decided in the Citizens United Supreme Court case? What's going on here?
Well, we thought it was, and of course, when the left, which hates the First Amendment, because if you disagree with them, they don't want to have a spirited debate. They don't want to have, the intellectual exercise of having to defend their positions. What they want is to have silence. And the left's always been about silence and silencing the opposition. So that's why they created the mechanisms of campaign finance so that it would silence people across the country. And Citizens United, a small conservative organization, decided to take on the federal government, take on the Federal Election Commission, because we felt that our First Amendment rights were being trampled on, that we as a 501c4 organization had a fundamental First Amendment right to do the things that we wanted to do in the public space, that we had a voice and we wanted to be able to speak. And of course, the Federal Election Commission and Congress, the United States Senate and Congress, told us we didn't have the right. And not only did we not have the right, if I actually did those things, I could be punished by possible prison time, 5 years per count, as a matter of fact. Wow. So I just told my lawyers, we're not going to wait for them to come after us. That's why it's not the FEC versus the Citizens United. It's Citizens United versus the Federal Election Commission, and it's because we were on the offense. We sued them. We weren't waiting around. I sued them. I sued the government because what they're doing with the IRS now is the same thing the FEC was doing. They were trying to squelch speech, and they were trying to squelch conservative speech. So once they lost the Supreme Court case, Barack Obama went to the State of the Union and demanded that Congress take action, demanded that regulatory agencies take action, which is what begot us the IRS scandal to begin with.
Right.
And it was from his words that the IRS decided, hey, let's make it more difficult for these conservative groups, these Tea Party groups, these really bad guys to get their applications passed. So they did that. Now all of a sudden, the IRS is now going to change the rules so that they're not in trouble for stopping these 501c4 organizations. They're just not going to allow them to participate in the political process.
It is so amazing what you're describing, and it's so true. The new guidelines would curtail activities such as running ads, distributing literature, and getting and organizing get out the vote campaigns. By the way, this is everything that got Obama elected from his groups on the other side of the political spectrum.
And Steve, two of those three, okay, the first two, we weren't doing flyers, about elections, but I mean, we were running ads. And we wanted to be able to run ads for our films. And that particular film talked about what a bad candidate and what a bad president Hillary Clinton was going to be in 2007, 2008. And so we decided, hey, we want to have our right to be able to speak, just like Michael Moore and Hollywood had the chance to say what a bad president George Bush was in Fahrenheit 9/11. So we took it to the Supreme Court, we won. And this is how they try to undo a Supreme Court ruling.
Right. This isn't even legislation, but this fits with the Obama administration's MO, as I think we've talked about.
This is governing by executive fiat.
Right. And that's what he does. The whole argument for Obamacare from the left was it's settled law. Settled law until Obama changes it and makes it his own settled law, and he's been doing that ever since. He's done it with immigration reform. He's done it with the welfare work requirement. Did it with DOMA. He does it with whatever he wants.
Right. If he doesn't like it, it's not settled law. I mean, if he likes it, if he agrees with it, it's by all means settled. But if he don't like it, no.
Or if he wants to just change, settled. If he wants to just change a part that he likes, he could do that too. Let me ask you this: how is this? Is this going to undo? I mean, in layman's terms, is this going to undo what the Supreme Court ruled?
Well, I don't. Look, if the IRS goes forward with these possible rules changes, then what it will do is it will bring back a burden on C4s that it had prior to our Supreme Court case. So, what we would have to do, and we're going to be filing. During this period of time that they're asking for comments, there's a comment period that I think is through February. Citizens United is clearly going to be putting in our comments during this period, and we are going to make sure that they understand that Citizens United, the same organization that fought the Federal Election Commission from this extra constitutional, in my opinion, these things that are outside of the government's power, that outside of the First Amendment, that we will fight the IRS as well. I'm not interested in a fight with the IRS. I do not want to do that. I hope that they will not make these rules. But clearly the President of the United States has made clear to the IRS commissioner that he wants these rules. And so we are going to have to fight this battle one day at a time.
Are you
so
talking?
First will come the rules.
Yeah. Okay, but are you talking about if the IRS goes through with this? Are you talking when you say be heard and weigh in? Are you talking about a lawsuit?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just
Are
want to
you
make that
kidding
clear.
me?
I just want to make that clear. Yeah, you didn't
Again.
use the term, so I just wanted to make sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, we're talking to David Bossie here on the Steve Malzberg Show, and he, of course, is president and chairman of Citizens United. Let me ask you before we let you go. Congress doesn't have standing. I mean, Congress could impeach over something they think is, high crime, misdemeanor, unconstitutional behavior, breaking the law, whatever. But that's not going to happen. At least it's not going to happen until there's a Republican Senate. Even if they have the nerve then to do it, I doubt it. But there is we've had him on the show, an orthodontist down in Orlando who is suing to have Obamacare enforced as it was written and passed. Not that he's a fan of it. He hates it. And it's going to cost him money. But he just doesn't like the fact that the president's doing what he's doing with these laws. So he's going after the Obamacare in particular. But your group, another group, two groups in conjunction, who could try to rein in the president, if the Congress isn't going to act and they can't sue him in court because they don't have standing, who's going to go after the unconstitutional behavior that he's exhibited without any blink of an eye?
Right. Well, we actually, it brings up another point, but to what this guy's doing, we actually launched a project called Live By Your Laws, which is livebyyourlaws.com. I urge people to go to it, and it is for people to be able to go and sign a petition to force Congress to live by the very laws that they passed. And it was based on the Vitter Amendment. David Vitter, the senator from Louisiana,
with regard to health care,
has it based on health care because because the president has given Congress an exemption from the law, and there's exemptions from this law, and that's what this man in Orlando that you're talking about is saying is that, hey, no exemptions. If this thing was so good, if Nancy Pelosi was right, we got to find out what's in it once we pass it.
And no delays. He's also saying no delays, no special favors. The law was passed, enforce it. That's what he's saying.
Exactly. Well, that's an interesting idea. But live by your laws is fundamentally to health care.
Right.
So that David Vitter, who is a United States senator, who's saying, look, we pass these laws and make the American people live by them. We should live by them as well. And I fully support it. I urge people to go sign a petition that Citizens United has started with David.
Sounds real good. Hey, Dave, always a good pleasure to talk to you. And if we don't speak, have a wonderful Christmas and New Year's.
Thank you, sir. Same to you.
Take care. David Bossie, ladies and gentlemen. Citizens United president and chairman here on the Steve Malzberg Show. And, president does not like the court's decision, does not like Citizens United. And what we're witnessing is really, again, you cease to be surprised. I cease to be surprised. You may continue to be surprised. I can't speak for you. I cease to be surprised. I cease to be shocked. But I do not cease to be outraged. In fact, my outrage builds. My outrage increases with each shock and surprise, which does not shock and surprise me anymore. You following me? I know it's hard to follow, but we've never had a president. We've never had a president who rules by dictate. Now, when Maria Conchita Alonso was speaking, I could have done a whole rant on how, Obama's taking notes, but I refrained from saying that. So notice I didn't say that Obama's taking notes because I got to tell you, if Obama decided to do something like Maria was talking about as being done in Venezuela, and we were talking about being, putting limits on car prices, taking over electronics companies, all for the greater good. All for the greater good, of course. Everything's for the greater good. Making you buy insurance and telling you what you need, maternity coverage if you're a man, that's for the greater good. Everything is the EPA regulating people out of business, the regulations, everything is for the greater good. You understand that, of course. Don't doubt that for a second. Hey, could you think you'll wake up one day and the news media will say Obama's put in profit limits? No company could have more than a 30% profit margin? Would I be shocked? Would I be blown over? No, nothing would. No, he could do what he wants. He is doing what he wants. No one's stopping him. No one's stopping him. He's doing it through his health care bill. He's doing it through his judicial appointments. He's going to stock the D.C. Circuit Bench, and any decision related to Obamacare or EPA regulations. It'll all go through that court. They'll all rule in Obama's favor. It's all over. Or he just says, you don't have to follow that law for a year. You don't have to follow that law for a year. You know, you don't have to work under the welfare rule, the work requirement in welfare. I'm changing that. We're not going to deport this person and that person and people like them. You know, we're not going to enforce DOMA. We're not going to enforce that law. Who is he? And everybody I talk to says it's unconstitutional. Say it's almost unprecedented. It's unlawful. It's lawless. But who is doing anything to stop it? That's the part that's frightening. In addition to the fact that he's doing it. Hey, he's doing it. And no one's stopping him. No one's even talking about it. Do you hear Boehner and McConnell, or you see them have press conferences and say what I'm saying to you right now? They should do it every single day and say, hey, America, wake up. And they should do something about it themselves, whatever they could do. A resolution, power grabbing, unconstitutional, not supposed to be done, pass a resolution, something. Nothing from our side. Okay, folks, we're coming back. Oh, we got no guest, free segment on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk thanks to our spendthrift politicians. Mark Twain said, "The truth is stranger than fiction." The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54. With a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
Today, join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
Tony winners Harvey Fierstein, Jerry Mitchell, and rock icon Cyndi Lauper give us Kinky Boots. This is a fun show, and it tells the story of a struggling shoe factory owner who pairs up with an outrageous cabaret performer, and together not only do they save the business, but they learn to celebrate the differences in each other.
Well, Broadway's high-heeled hit won 6 Tony Awards this year, including Best Musical. From the Al Hirschfeld Theater performing Raise You Up and Just Be, here is the cast of Kinky Boots.
People of the world, Price and Son proudly presents Lola's Kinky Boots.
Thank you, Lola.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Were you watching the Thanksgiving Day parade with your kids? Yeah, great tradition, huh? Great tradition. And then there's Matt Lauer and whoever the heck else was sitting next to him. And there they are, glowing, introducing Kinky Boots, which I think is a Broadway play. Our friend Tim Graham at the Media Research Center on Newsbusters writes, the Huffington Post liked how right-wingers across America disapproved of NBC putting part of the Broadway show Kinky Boots in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Matt Lauer described it as a fun show that tells the story of a struggling shoe factory owner who pairs up with an outrageous cabaret performer. And together, not only do they save the business, but they learn to celebrate the differences in each other. The stars addressed a song to ladies and gentlemen and those yet to make up their minds. They sang, "Pride be your guide, and you change the world when you change your mind." Tim writes, parents had to suddenly explain what a drag queen was and why there was a man standing in red thigh-high boots, boxer shorts, and the top of a business suit. The show was created by gay playwright Harvey Fierstein and rock icon Cyndi Lauper, who, to use Lauper's term, rock icon. The production won 6 Tony Awards. Every once traditional family television show is getting transformed, it writes Tim, into another opportunity for gay pride evangelism, especially if it's run out of Manhattan by NBC Universal. HuffPo described it this way. Although the show's messages of acceptance and tolerance and the performance was relatively tame, right-wingers across America took to social networks to voice their outrage at NBC for broadcasting it. Folks, I'm sorry. why don't you warn? Why doesn't Matt sit there and say, parents, if you have little kids, you may want to turn off the TV for a second or two here or for a couple of minutes. This is a controversial Broadway play. It's got drag queens and transvestites and transsexuals, whatever. And, you're going to see weird, stuff here that your kid has never seen before. No. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hey, you too might want to wear stockings and a suit. Bravo to NBC. And then let's go to ABC. Oh, they're not off the hook. They are not off the hook. Here we are, ABC News on Monday, pushing the quote-unquote gospel, the gospel of polygamy. And I've told you that polygamy is knocking on the door. It's coming, because who are we to say that 3, 4, 5, 6 people can't be married? Are we bigots? That's coming. That's coming. It's just a matter of time. You redefine marriage, you tear down traditional marriage, it opens the door. It wasn't me who brought it up at the Supreme Court hearings. No, it was Sonia Sotomayor who asked about polygamy and the slippery slope to polygamy. Not me. All right, let's listen to Cut 28. ABC, you go get them.
Is this the end of marriage as we know it? More couples opting to become triples or fourples. Live-in lovers spicing up the marital bed, even helping raise the children. Could your marriage survive this? Just for a minute, let's do a thought experiment. Let's set aside all the emotion and consider whether the evangelists for open marriage might have a point. Most marriages in America do end in divorce, so maybe adding other lovers to the mix could improve the odds.
They're spreading the gospel of polyamory, hoping to speed up societal acceptance of this kind of setup.
I really think that society in 10 years is going to be like, this is a new paradigm.
You think this is going to become quite normal?
Absolutely. It is quite normal already. It's just not out of the closet yet.
Oh, it's quite normal. Are we changing the definition now of normal? Yeah. Normal, racism, marriage, whatever. We'll just change the definition. Yeah, it's quite normal. That means if it's normal, it's the norm. And quite would mean it's the norm by quite some bit. So you're telling me that a majority of people are doing this? Because that would make it normal. What can I say, folks? What can I say? Yeah, maybe they have a point. Since most marriages end in divorce, then anything. Right? Any suggestion, this ABC anchor on Nightline would have to say, maybe they have a point. Right? If it's a suggestion about marriage and the premise is, well, most marriages end in divorce, so blah, 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 maybe that's a point. Well, then anything you could come up with, polygamy, whatever, make something up. Maybe that's a point, because most marriages end in divorce. So it's not just polygamy, it would be anything he would have to say that same thing about. What can I say, folks? Hour number 3 is on deck on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at Aftershock2013.com. Aftershock2013.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. With his approval numbers in the dumps, President Obama continues to hear it from hecklers on almost every issue. This is how he was greeted in San Francisco by what was supposed to be a friendly crowd.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah.
While speaking on immigration, the president was interrupted by a protester calling for him to use an executive order to halt deportations and reform the immigration system. The president also said he would be willing to go along with the plan supported by GOP House members to break immigration reform down into smaller parts instead of doing it in just one large bill. Someone in the president's handpicked crowd, though, broke in. But before security could escort the heckler away, the president answered back, saying that he shares the same goals as his hecklers.
If, in fact, I could solve all these problems without passing laws in Congress, then I would do so.
And President Obama is also defending a new nuclear deal with Iran. President Obama told crowds that we cannot rule out peaceful solutions to the world's problems. Iran says it will restrict uranium enrichment for 6 months and allow inspections at select nuclear facilities. In return, the U.S. and several countries will slightly ease some economic sanctions. But several U.S. politicians, including Democrats and Republicans, say Iran simply cannot be trusted.
They have lied, they have cheated, they have deceived for years and years.
Meanwhile, congressional aides say some senators are working on legislation that would reinstate all of those sanctions if Iran does not comply with any part of the new agreement. And that winter storm system that hit parts of Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas hard swept across the country to the East Coast on Tuesday. But with temperatures creeping above the freezing point, the outcome was a little less dramatic than forecasters had feared. The storm limped across Arkansas with a smattering of snow, sleet, and freezing rain that didn't quite meet expectations. Still, though, the storm has been blamed for at least 11 deaths, half of those in Texas. And that same winter storm system is still impacting the East Coast pretty deeply, continuing to threaten plans of Thanksgiving travelers. Some of the country's busiest airports, New York, Washington, Philly, Boston, Charlotte, and Atlanta, could see big delays throughout the day at one of the peak times of the travel year. This holiday will likely see also the most air travelers since 2007, according to Airlines for America, the industry's trade and lobbying group, with the busiest day being Sunday, with an estimated 2.56 million passengers taking to the air. So travel safe, everyone. Coming up next, a Newsmax exclusive with Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, his take on the Iranian nuclear deal. Plus, Black Friday, it's already upon us. See why these folks decided camping out at a Best Buy is more important than spending Thanksgiving with their families. That's next.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
And welcome back. Black Friday shoppers are already camping out around the country, especially at some Best Buy stores. Bargain hunters in Tampa here hope to save anywhere from $500 to $1,000 on big screen TVs and other electronics. Meanwhile, shoppers also began lining up on Monday at a Best Buy in Atlanta. One family told local news there that for the past 6 years, they've had their Thanksgiving turkey in the parking lot instead of at home. Well, Thanksgiving means different things to different people, obviously. And during an exclusive interview, Senator Lindsey Graham tells Newsmax TV that the newly reached Iranian nuke deal puts the Islamic Republic on the verge of having a nuclear weapon, and it does nothing to halt Iran's advancement in that same direction.
Their nuclear capability is pretty much intact. They have 18,000 centrifuges. They have a very sophisticated enrichment program. Not one centrifuge was dismantled.
And that'll do it for this edition of your Newsmax Now Update. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show, live from New York.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Steve Malzberg Show, Monday edition. And we are joined right now, I'm very happy to say, for the first time by Dana Milbank of the Washington Post. Hello, sir.
Hi.
God, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, happy to.
You wrote a very interesting piece just right after Thanksgiving and before the weekend about how to save America. And the Milbank plan is, among other things, I should say, to restore the draft. I'm just curious, before we get into it, what's been the reaction that you've gotten from this column?
You know, I've been pleasantly surprised. I sort of figured it would kind of vanish in the holiday weekend and we'd never hear about it again. But I've heard from all kinds of people, you know, from General Stanley McChrystal, and a lot of interest and talk online about it. I don't think anybody thinks it's going to happen anytime soon, if at all. And it was beyond the draft. I was saying, you know, we need mandatory conscription. That means everybody.
Yep.
And that's ideally for military service. But for those who have some problem with military service, some other form of national service, but, you know, a real kind of service.
Well, is this something that Obama has, hinted at or talked about during one of the campaigns that he would like to see happen? I mean, not from a legislative point of view yet, but is this something that he had talked about?
Gosh, I don't. If he has, I certainly don't know anything about it. I mean, he certainly talked about, you know, AmeriCorps and national service in that form, but that's a very small sort of voluntary program.
Now, the reasons, one of the reasons you talk about for doing this is, I guess it's not a quick fix for what you say is wrong with our politics and our political system and Congress and the inability to, as you talk about, get things done, et cetera. But you talk about how such a small percentage of those serving have served in the military, you know, and we haven't had a president who's served in the military in quite some time. So, you know, George W. Bush aside, you know, with the reserves. So you're looking at at something, if it would start tomorrow, really wouldn't remedy that for many, many, many years anyway, correct?
No, I think we're basically looking at a generation. You know, Tom Brokaw wrote of the greatest generation, and I wonder if people are going to be writing about the worst generation when they're talking about those of us who are around right now. But yeah, the percentage of veterans in Congress was in the late 70s. When you had the sort of the peak because of all the World War II veterans was up around 70%, and now we're down below 20%, which is I think it's no coincidence that overlapped with the period when things really started getting out of hand with our national finances, and also just with the constantly escalating partisanship. I think that what's happened is people started to see each other, Americans started to see each other as the enemy without realizing that, we're all on the same team here. We have disagreements, but we're not enemies.
If there were to be it's kind of a loaded question because I don't see anybody on the left with military experience, especially if it's Hillary's to take if she wants. But under ordinary circumstances, let's put it, would someone's military service at this point, if there were to be someone with a military background running for the presidency, would you, because of the way you write that things are now, would you take a closer, harder look at that person?
Well, I suppose that would weigh to their benefit. I mean, at least in the way I look at it. But it doesn't necessarily weigh to their political benefit overall. I mean, George W. Bush actually succeeded in making John Kerry's military service a liability.
Right.
We had, I think John McCain benefited a great deal from his military record because it was more than just service. He's a prisoner of war,
Absolutely.
a real hero. So I think that gave him a certain kind of character. And I've actually talked with McCain about this. And he thinks he endorses the whole notion that people have lost this sense of something greater than self-interest, and that in this context we're talking about country and putting country before self. And I think precious few people in either party are doing that today.
Yeah, no, I think we're more polarized, and there are many reasons for it. I think there are many positives to what you say about the mandatory service. On the other hand, when it affects you, I also have a 14-year-old son who would certainly be affected by that. And when it hits home,
yeah, it's easy for me to say now that I'm
right, absolutely. We're talking to Dana Milbank, of course, of the Washington Post here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Can I be honest with you? I admired many columns that you've written because you're unpredictable. I don't think you toed a party line, for the most part, but that I think that was evidenced with the piece you wrote about Susan Rice back a year ago, November 16th of 2012. Susan Rice's tarnished resume, and I remember reading that on the air and saying, this is Dana Milbank saying this. Why is the rest of the media, for the most part, silent on what 95% of what's in his column, and all they're repeating is, the optic of two old white men going after Susan Rice isn't good, and ignoring everything that you wrote about her. Why were you like the lone voice out there on I don't want to say on the left, but on the left?
I couldn't have been. I couldn't have been a lone voice because there was so much opposition to her that she had to.
On the right, though, but coming from. Yeah.
But I think what's going on there is the Democrats weren't out there criticizing her, but you notice they weren't really defending her either, and I think that's what did her in. If Obama got the sense that Democrats in the Senate were willing to back her up, then he would have pressed ahead. But they weren't willing to back her up. And I think what I was doing basically was giving voice to what a lot of people on the left were saying privately.
Yeah, and we're talking about
so I don't think I was any sort of outlier. I was just I don't
Well, I meant the rest of the media.
Party politics, so
right,
I can say what they're actually saying and thinking.
Right. No, and I'm talking about, maybe I expressed myself poorly. I didn't mean that there was nobody else criticizing her, certainly on the right, but I meant in the media. It wasn't there weren't other articles or columns being written back saying, as Dana Milbank alluded to, she did this, she did that kind. And I don't mean the politicians who weren't defending her, but I mean the media just reporting honestly, because a lot of them had to know what you knew and chose not to write it for whatever reason. Which brings me to one more, Dana, and I'm really glad you're on, and I hope you'll come back. You made some news, I believe it was over the weekend, when you were asked about Martin Bashir and the comments he made about Sarah Palin. And I just want to play a soundbite. This is from Fox News. We have that bite, Adam? Okay. And here is
Yes, and I think the legitimate point that he was making is that these slavery things are brought up too often, and this is how awful slavery is. Then he brought up a vulgar thing at the end for which he apologized. Yeah, that happens on MSNBC. It happens on Fox News. People on this network have talked about decapitating me and turning me into hummus. Nobody's getting suspended or barely even apologizing for that sort of thing.
Is that a host or a guest who wanted?
That was a host in your 8 p.m. hour.
Okay, that you were referring to Bill O'Reilly, of course, and I mean, I have the transcript of that where he at the end says, "But by the way, after he says that about you in a joking manner, he said, by the way, Media Matters, I'm only joking." So even if he didn't say that, do you find it really analogous to what Bashir said about Sarah Palin? To even if he was, joking around or even seriously said, could we behead him? Is that the same?
I do, actually, because it occurred on multiple nights, this thing, and at another point he put up a photograph of my editor and said, let's get an idea of what this guy looks like. Then he said, okay, take the photo down. And he said, have a nice weekend, buddy, which I think is a not-so-veiled attempt to intimidate through violence. So
really? Okay. That's
yeah, no, I mean, it went on. It went on, and ultimately he did back down from it, which I think was appropriate. But look, Bill O'Reilly is a professional. He's not the biggest offender out there. I think much more analogous to what we're talking about.
Bashir, yeah.
Here was the stuff that Glenn Beck was doing, for which there was never any sort of an apology. And he did that for several years.
Dana, I am out of time. Unfortunately, I have a hard break, but I really thank you, and I hope you'll come back, sir.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much. Dana Milbank, ladies and gentlemen, Washington Post. I'm Steve Malzberg. We're coming back. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
ObamaCare, President Obama's massive healthcare law, is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the ObamaCare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already a New York Times bestseller, every American needs to get the ObamaCare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the ObamaCare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the ObamaCare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores, or get our special offer at ObamaCare311.com and you'll save $15. Go now to ObamaCare311.com. That's ObamaCare311.com.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.hearthealth.com. www.simplehearttest.com.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084. 5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Ted Rall, liberal cartoonist. He's been on with us before. He's in a little bit of hot water. He has drawn a cartoon, which is what cartoonists do, by the way, in case you didn't know, of Barack Obama. And it's come under some fire. We could actually put that up on the screen, I believe, he said. Cut 37. Do we have 37 we can put up on the screen? This is Ted Rall's depiction in a recent cartoon of Barack Obama. And he's catching all kinds of grief. It's racist. I'm telling you, even their own. They're going after their own. That's racist. But it's one publication in particular that said that's racist. And it's a publication apparently that he provides cartoons to that doesn't pay him or don't pay him, however I said it. And so he'll talk about that at the bottom of the hour. And then Drew Johnson will join us, a senior fellow at the Taxpayers Protection Alliance, talking about the an unlikely person trying to shut down the Keystone Pipeline. So all that straight ahead, still ahead on the third hour, Monday edition, Steve Malzberg Show. It's December already. And if it's December, I don't know, the racists and bigots must be coming out of the woodwork. I just felt like saying that. I don't know what December has to do with it, but Kanye West. You know, George Bush don't like black people. Remember that one? Oh, yeah. Should we say Kanye West don't like Jewish people? I don't know. You have to ask him. I don't know what's inside his head. But we could listen to what he had to say on 105.1 FM radio here in New York City. 105.1 coming at you. And he was interviewed about, I don't know, they were talking about Obama's failures with ObamaCare, et cetera. And I guess it's Jewish people's fault, the fault of Jewish people. Here's cut 25.
We don't got it like that. When I tell you only 7 black billionaires, look at that marginalization, and we feel like we happy because me and Rick Ross got a Maybach, or I got a Sprint outside, or a couple of us, or they put a black president. Man, let me tell you something about George Bush and oil money and Obama and no money. People want to say Obama can't make these moves or he's not executing. That's because he ain't got those connections. Black people don't have the same level of connections as Jewish people. Black people don't have the same connection as oil people. You know we don't know nobody that got a nice house. You know we don't know nobody with paper like that we could go to when we down. You know that could just put us back or put us in a corporation. You know we ain't in a situation. Can you guarantee that your daughter could get a job at this radio station? But if you own this radio station, you could guarantee that. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what he's talking about? I was just going to ask, what is he talking about? Oh, that's what he's talking about. Apparently, George Bush is a Jewish oil person who made his Jewish money in oil. That's what I get from Kanye West. And black people ain't got no Jewish oil money, apparently. And black people don't know no one with a nice house. You know the sad part? Look, it's America. That's, I guess it's America. And if you could bamboozle them and okey-doke them, as Barack Obama would say, and make millions of dollars, God bless you. God bless you. You're living the American dream. Of course, most people would say the American dream is to do something great or invent something great or, and then be rewarded in that fashion and be a millionaire or a billionaire. But if you could do it by bamboozling people, as long as you're not breaking the law, I'm not saying perpetrating fraud. If you got the talent of a Kanye West, which it must be immense, he must be just one of a kind. I can't imagine that what he does, anybody else could do with the greatness that the obviously very, very intelligent and loving Kanye West does. I don't see how anybody else could do it with that level of greatness. He's obviously an exceptional human being. Jewish oil money, George Bush. Back to George Bush. It always comes back to George Bush. He hates black people. He's implying he's Jewish with oil money. I mean, you can't. But this guy's a millionaire. This guy's a multimillionaire, and more power to him, because that's what America's all about. If you could do it legally, I'm not saying fraud. You know what I mean. Then do it. If you could sing or make believe you sing and fool people into thinking you got talent and make millions of dollars, you go, Kanye. All right. But remember, Obama, he don't got what Jewish people got. What was the quote? Can we play that again? No, we don't have time to play that again. What am I talking about? Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Play that again, Sam, as they say. Play it again, Sam. Do we have Kanye West? All right. All right, the computer froze. So, we got the drift of what he said. Black people don't have the same connections as Jewish people. Yeah, I know. It's rough. It's rough, Kanye. You have it very rough. I can understand that. How many more millions do you have left in the bank? You can't have that more millions left in the bank. One day, if you don't watch it, your money will run out. And then it brings us to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, just talking like Mike Tyson is entertaining in some way. Here's cut 26.
When you go back to your old streets and you meet your old guys and so on, what do you think the real cares and fears of the average American on the street are right now?
Healthcare. There's people that haven't been to the doctor in 20 years, haven't seen the doctor because they can't afford it. And, man, it's just hunger, homelessness, and we're talking about the land of the plenty, and so it's just difficult. So people are just we're in dire straits right now as far as hope, and I believe Obama and Mr. Biden, Vice President, give the people in that desperational need that hope.
Okay, he went on to talk about ObamaCare, but health care? He goes back to poor neighborhoods that he came from and whatever, and that's the number one concern of people? Health care? Would he have said this a year ago, 2 years ago, or or if ObamaCare was going smoothly and no health care? Okay, people, he said, have no homes, they're living on the streets, poverty, hunger, but health care is the first thing he said. I'm always entertained by Mike Tyson. I used to think Mike Tyson would never, ever lose a fight. When he was this young kid starting out, he used to come on our show at WABC with Art Rush Jr. He'd come up to the studio. I said, this kid, it's impossible to beat this guy. I was wrong. Happened once.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind, to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
29. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream. Streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. We're going to put up the cartoon again that we showed you a little earlier, because now we're about to introduce the cartoonist. And there it is. There's the cartoon in question that's causing the stir, or at least caused the stir at the Daily Kos, and caused a stir of a reaction by cartoonist Ted Rall, who joins us once again. Hello, Ted.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, I've been busy.
I know.
A couple of days.
Well, when I read that that you were accused of being a racist by the Daily Kos because of an Obama cartoon, I said we got to get him on, because this is just insanity carried way too far, and usually it's directed at the conservatives. So what'd you think when the Daily Kos, accused you of, well, what exactly did they accuse you of besides being a racist? I mean, did they specify? They talked about, what, the features on Obama's face or whatever?
Yeah, they accused me of drawing in a quote-unquote intolerable way, of drawing the president to look like a monkey. And in the vein of racist cartoons, from American history, from the 19th century, and so on. And the thing that's really baffling about this is I've been drawing Obama since '06, and I've been drawing him just the same way since '09. So it's been 4 years that these drawings have been in front of tens of millions of Americans. They've been online. They've been in 100 newspapers. They're not hidden from view. I do 5 cartoons a week. At least one features the president. So we're talking about hundreds of cartoons, possibly even maybe 1,000 cartoons, that have the same exact image from different points of view. And if you look at my work, you'll see that I draw everyone the same. It's like if you think probably a lot of people have made the comparison between the way I draw and the Simpsons. And
I was going to say,
Yeah.
He looks like a black Homer Simpson.
Right, and it's like, and the thing is that like when I draw a white guy, they're no prettier. If you look at the way I drew Bush, my God, it was much worse. It's Obama, if anything, gets a pretty light treatment as from an art standpoint. I don't make him look that ugly. I feel. And,
Why? Why? Let me stop you. Why do you give him special treatment? Because he's black, or because he's a Democrat, or both?
It's funny. With Bush, it's more about the artistic process than politics. Honestly, is the short answer to your question.
Mm-hmm.
When I came in with Bush, I developed sort of this Generalissimo El Busho persona, and it started to not even look like him at all. It wasn't about looking like him. It was more the way that Doonesbury used to do. I think it was first President Bush or maybe Clinton as a waffle. So it was more of a symbol, more of a stand-in. With Obama, I wanted him to look more just like him. I never got around to figuring out sort of a character that he could be. I kept trying different things. I had like a Hello Kitty thing going on at one point to show that he was trading on appearances more than substance. But it was not really a political decision. I certainly haven't pulled my punches with him politically. I've been very, very hard on him. And I decided from day one that what would be racist for a political cartoonist to do would be to give the president special treatment because he's black. That would be racist.
Do you feel that members of the media are doing that?
Oh, I mean, look, this is a conservative show. You're a conservative host, and I know, and you have a conservative audience. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to be honest here. There's no doubt from it's not a secret that most editors and producers are Democrats, and this president really gets away with a lot more than previous presidents, and I would say he gets away with more than Clinton did too. When Clinton really caught, during the Lewinsky scandal, he took all sorts of abuse. But I think the media is generally a little bit softer on, maybe significantly softer on Democrats than Republicans, and this president in particular has really benefited from kid gloves all along. There's no question.
Because of his race.
I think that's part of it. I mean, certainly a lot of my peers have told me, fellow editorial cartoonists who are liberals, they either literally draw him like a white guy, like no shading or anything, no features that indicate that he's black, or they just don't. They try not to draw him at all because they're afraid of being the center of this kind of controversy.
Wow.
And it happens. Race is the third rail of American politics, and in editorial cartooning, which relies partly on caricature, you're going to get into it's difficult. Now, I decided early on that I was going to decide not to care. And look, I don't feel that I draw the president in an ape-like way. It's the last thing that's on my mind. It's never occurred to me to draw him that way. And when honestly, I think that most people who look at this stuff, it's in their head. It's not in mine. It never occurred to me. I mean, there was one little kerfluffle in 2011, 2 years into it, on again a Democratic Party blog. I'm not even going to say a liberal blog, but a Democratic Party blog called Democratic Underground. And Daily Kos is really not a lefty blog. It is a Democratic Party blog. Its self-stated purpose is to elect more and better Democrats. It's not about progressivism. It's not about liberalism. It's not about socialism. It's about getting more Democrats elected.
And why do you think, though, and we're talking to Ted Rall, cartoonist here on the Steve Malzberg Show, who Daily Kos, who, by the way, I think you wrote on your blog that they don't pay you, so you really don't, you're not going to change your way, certainly not for hardly anybody, but certainly not for somebody who doesn't pay you. But why do you think, if this is how you've been drawing the president for so long, why do you think they came down on you or accuse you now?
Oh, it's because I only started posting to their blog recently.
Ah, okay.
They have a section where anybody can post, and I started I guess it was about 2 months ago. And from day one, everything I posted that was critical of the president, I got this huge amount of hatred. And they have this system where you can vote that you like or dislike something, and it gets hidden or censored if you don't like it. Well, most of the people there are Democrats. So anything that criticizes Democrats or Obama
goes away, like he just did.
I mean,
there you are. We lost you for a second. I thought we lost you for a second.
Oh, sorry, I'm right here. Yeah.
No, you said anybody who criticizes Obama, and then there was silence, and I said goes away, and then you didn't answer.
It's the NSA.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
But no, it's like anyone who criticizes Democrats or Obama is just vanished. They're like a Soviet unperson, like in 1984.
Yeah.
They're just gone. The cut out of the photo from the top of the Kremlin, and that's totally what happened to me from the beginning. I had all sorts of negative votes. It's about the politics. I mean, if you look at the vast majority of people who came down on me, these are white Democrats, white guy Democrats who are just using this as an excuse. I mean, look, get ready, because in 2016, if Hillary is the nominee, it's just going to be sexism will be the new racism. That's the thing, and it's cheap. It's pretty poor tea. You know what I mean? It's real cheap. It's tacky. It's
that's exactly.
You don't have anything.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you if you think that Hillary will find protection. I knew she would from the media in general. Like when she ran against Rick Lazio here in New York for the Senate, and they were on the debate. They were debating at a debate, and he walked over to her gave her a contract to sign, and all you heard afterwards, he invaded the space of a woman. Oh my God, he did this. He wouldn't do this to a man. So I know that if it's Hillary, they're gonna. If you dare criticize Hillary, you're anti-woman. Just like if you dare criticize Obama, you're anti-black. But I was just wondering. I was going to ask you if you thought that kind of gender thing would resonate as much in your profession, or as applied to you, as race does with Obama. And obviously the answer is yes.
I mean, yes. I mean, look, it's the thing is, nobody appreciates being accused of racism or sexism in the United States, but it's doubly worse when you're on the left, and it's triply worse when you're a lefty political cartoonist or commentator, because it means that you're going to be discredited with people who should be your fans, who should be buying your books. There are going to be lots of people who will walk into a bookstore when my next book comes out and say, "Oh, Ted Rall, that guy's a racist," or in 2016 they'll say sexist.
Right. All right. Well, let me ask you. All right. Does this make you? Does this make you sympathize, empathize with conservatives who are branded that also simply for making a misstatement or saying something they regretted once, or just disagreeing with Obama and being branded a racist by the liberal media? I mean, do you now have a different perspective on them?
Well, I guess I do. I have to slice, those the people who've been victimized.
Sure. It's not a blanket statement, but yeah,
into different places. I mean, I think I've heard things that I think were racially offensive, upset, and I've also heard things that absolutely were taken out of context and were unfair, and where it's just on the politics. I have, it's funny. I had I have several conservative friends who are also cartoonists, and they were telling me back in '08 that they were getting beaten up for criticizing Obama and and I was like, I didn't pay that much attention. First they came for for your Republican cartoonist friends, then they came for you. So it's like that's kind of, it's certainly something that we are all, as political cartoonists, aware of, and we're all, frankly, a little bit afraid. And if you look, at the collections of editorial cartoons over the last 4 or 5 years, people are too nice to Obama. They just are. This is not the job. The job isn't to be nice to the president. I don't care who he is. If the president does something nice, or something good that you agree with, you shouldn't do a cartoon about it. You should just tell your spouse, hey, I like what the president did, and turn the page and then do something critical.
Right.
If you don't have, it's the opposite. Editorial cartooning is like, if you don't have anything nice to say, come sit next to me.
Now, Ted, you remember the cartoons of Condoleezza Rice, a.k.a. Aunt Jemima, right?
Sure.
During her confirmation hearings? I don't think those were yours, right?
No, I didn't. I did do an anti-Condoleezza Rice cartoon and 2 anti-Colin Powell cartoons.
Oh, was that the one? That was the one with the bird on Bush's, with the.
That's my colleague, my friend.
All right. But so what? There was really no outrage then, and they were to me those were racist cartoons.
No, me and several other people were accused of racism by conservatives for picking on Black Republicans in the Bush administration, and it's true that those accusations got no traction in the media, and I think it's because it was against Republicans.
Right.
And now when it's against not only a Democrat but on top of that against Obama,
yep.
Of course it's just worse. But look, it's not going to change anything.
Let me know. I got to go, but let me know if you get audited.
I will.
All right.
They'll be very bored. I have a very, very conservative Republican accountant.
Hey, Ted, good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Take care. Ted Rall, ladies and gentlemen. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's insane. And he's absolutely right that Hillary will be insulated in the same way, but by her gender. And if you dare to agree with her or attack her politically, it's because you can't stand the thought of a woman. That's how the left operates. Coming back, Steve Malzberg on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician,
and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54, with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today. In this free offer, we are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
Attention, anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES to learn about a special program that has been created just for you. In this solution kit, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan exactly as found in this risk-free kit have not only normalized their blood sugar, but have stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing your diabetes. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES and get information about 3 specific actions to take right now today that normalize your blood sugar and get it under control in 4 weeks or less. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES and find out now, while this revolutionary information is still available risk-free. That's toll-free 855-500-DIABETES, 855-500-DIABETES.
13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll-free at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, final segment of today's really big show. I thank you for being aboard every day from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, NewsmaxTV.com. And, of course, fine radio stations everywhere, and Roku, and you could download the Newsmax TV app on your iPhone. And there's so many ways. So we have an archive page at NewsmaxTV.com as well. Joining us now is Drew Johnson, Senior Fellow at the Taxpayers Protection Alliance. And we're here to talk about the Keystone Pipeline. Remember that? Oh, yeah. It had been and still is being delayed and scrutinized, and you know, Obama's never get off and do it. But you might be surprised at just who is spending millions and millions of dollars to try to kill the prospect of the Keystone Pipeline. Hello, Drew. How are you?
I'm good, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. Okay, so what is going on here? Will the Keystone Pipeline ever pass Obama's test? And who is trying to, or kind of bankrolling, I guess, the effort against it coming to fruition?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Obama has never really had a very good reason why the Keystone XL pipeline shouldn't be built, because it would mean, you know, tens of thousands of jobs and cheaper electricity. And probably most important, really, is the fact that we'd be getting a lot of our oil domestically and from Canada rather than from unfriendly nations. You know, people who have warheads basically pointed at us. But the guy who's bankrolling this is a guy named Tom Steyer, who says that he's a hedge fund manager who's made literally over $1 billion. He's one of the richer guys in the United States. And he claims that it's for environmental reasons, but when you look a little deeper, it's actually some business reasons for himself.
And what would those business reasons be?
Well, it turns out that Tom Steyer, this great environmentalist, has made about $1.5 billion through fossil fuel investments. So he's telling us, first of all, that fossil fuels are terrible, but he's made over $1 billion off of them. But he has a huge interest, a huge financial stake in a company that's building a pipeline called the Trans Mountain Pipeline. And what it is aiming to do is transport oil and oil shale from Alberta to a shipping terminal. And that's exactly what the Keystone Pipeline is doing. So if he is able to keep the Keystone Pipeline from being built, then he has a monopoly with his little Trans Mountain Pipeline and stands to make millions of dollars off of it. So we see it's not environmental concern at all that's motivating this. It's Steyer's own profit.
And is he influencing Obama other than putting money into ads or whatnot against this, or how is Obama being directly influenced by this at all?
Yeah, here's the real kicker about this. He has this huge PAC that he and his buddies, he manages it, and he's given millions of dollars of his own money, and he's gotten his buddies too as well, that work really hard to elect Democrats. And to the point that about a year ago, there was an opening for Energy Secretary, and Steyer was one of the finalists considered for Energy Secretary because Obama felt like he owed Steyer such a thank you, such a pat on the back for all he's done to get these Democrats elected that have helped him out and have opposed the Keystone Pipeline.
That is really amazing. We're talking to Drew Johnson, Senior Fellow at the Taxpayers Protection Alliance here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Talk about some of the you talk about some of the ads that he's running, and one of them, he claims that the Keystone Pipeline would only create 30 jobs or so?
Yeah, he says that this pipeline that runs from Canada, down basically through Texas and into the Gulf of Mexico would create 30 or 35 jobs, which is about the number of jobs that a new Dunkin' Donuts shop would create. Where he got this number, it's hard to say exactly, but the State Department under Obama has said that Keystone will generate, just in construction, about 42,000 jobs. And then once it's open, in terms of the refineries and things like that, we're talking about tens of thousands of sustainable jobs that are going to create, really good paychecks for American families.
And of course, he uses climate change as as the main alarm bell, I guess, against the Keystone, correct?
And the really funny thing about that, is his argument against Keystone, you can't say, I'm a shady jerk and I'm trying to kill Keystone because I have a pipeline that I want to build and have the monopoly on all this oil.
So he just knocks pipelines, yeah.
Right. So you say, oh, my goodness, the environment's going to be ruined if the Keystone XL is built, which, all these federal and state regulatory agencies have looked at the Keystone and found that it's about as safe as you can possibly make a pipeline, right, which is pretty darn safe. But the funny thing is, while he's criticizing the Keystone Pipeline, he's never said anything negative about the Trans Mountain Pipeline, even though it's the same exact kind of pipeline.
Right,
so,
right.
What's good for the goose should be good for the gander.
Yeah, you would think so, but as you well know, Drew, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Drew Johnson, Senior Fellow at Taxpayers Protection Alliance. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
My pleasure. Take care. All right, folks, we've come to the end once again of another Steve Malzberg extravaganza, a 3-hour extravaganza, and we'll do it again tomorrow, God willing, as they say. I want to thank the folks at Morning Joe for having me on earlier today, and I was on HuffPo TV with Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, and that was fun too with Dov Hiken and other people. We'll come back here tomorrow, Newsmax TV and...
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's bubble economy that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now, Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
Wow, you look great. Thanks. I've lost some weight. What's your secret weapon? Actually, I do in fact have one. Really?
If you're looking for help in your weight loss efforts, remember this name, Metavio. It just made